Hello guys, my name is Salam. In today's class, we will be taking a look at matrix. We'll be solving questions on matrix. If you pay attention to this, I promise you are not going to watch these videos more than once before you understand how to solve questions on matrix. So first and foremost,
The product X has a fixed cost of 60 naira and a variable cost of 6 naira per product. Product Y has fixed cost of 35 naira and variable cost of 8 naira per product. If the cost, which is represented as C, if the cost is a 2 by 2 matrix, that is 60, 6, 35 and 8, and the quantity, which is represented as Q, is a 2 by 1 matrix, that is 1 and Q, where C is a cost coefficient matrix. The first requirement is that we should evaluate and explain the significance of the matrix C multiplied by Q. That is, after multiplying these two matrices, we are to explain the significance of the matrix. Given now that the product X and Y sell for 9 naira and 10 naira respectively, that is, the selling price of products X and Y is 9 and 10. The selling price for product X is 9 and the selling price for product Y is 10. The second requirement was that we should write down the revenue coefficient matrix. We should write down the revenue coefficient matrix. And the last requirement is that we should evaluate the matrix RQ minus CQ and explain its significance. The RQ means when you multiply your revenue, multiply by the quantity. As I said, the Q means the quantity. And the CQ means the cost multiplied by the quantity, which is from the first requirement.
without the question before providing solutions to it. So let's solve the question now. Now the question says that the variable cost, we were given two products. We were given X and Y. We were given X and Y. Now the fixed cost for X in the question is what? Is 60. And the variable cost for Y is 6. The fixed cost, this is the fixed cost for X. This is the fixed cost for Y. The variable cost for X is what? Is 35. And the variable cost for Y is what? Is 8. So this matrix is 2 by 2 matrix. Now the requirement was that we should evaluate, the first one is we should evaluate matrix C multiplied by Q. That is, we should multiply these two matrices we should multiply these two matrices. Now let's go back to the initial question. The matrix for the C, which is the cost, is 60, 6, 35, and 8. This is the matrix for our cost. And the matrix for our Q, which is the quantity, is 1 and Q. This is a 2 by 2 matrix, and this is the what? This is also 2 by 1 matrix. So let's see if we can multiply this matrix. For us to check if we can multiply this matrix, we will say 2 by 2 matrix equals to 2 by 1 matrix. This and this equate, which means we can multiply this what? We can multiply this matrix. So let's multiply this matrix by saying the row multiplied by the column. 60 multiplied by 1 plus open bracket of 6 multiplied by Q. Okay? 35 multiplied by 1 plus 8 multiplied by Q. Okay? So let's solve the question. Let's solve the final answers. 60 times 1 is 60 plus 6 times Q is 6Q. 35 times 1 is 35 plus 8 times Q is 8Q. So this is the final answer. We've multiplied the cost multiplied by the quantity. We've multiplied the cost multiplied by the what? By the quantity. So this matrix is what? Is 2 by what? 1, 2. 2 by 2 column, 2 row, and 1 column. So can you see that we arrive at this answer? So which means our answer is what? Our answer is correct. So let's move on to the second requirement. Let's move on to the second requirement. The second requirement asks us to what? Asks us to find the revenue coefficient. It asks us to find the revenue coefficient. Now, to find the revenue coefficient, if you check the initial question, the revenue was not given. The total revenue was not given. Okay? Now, to solve for the total revenue, it will be price multiplied by quantity. Let's assume they ask you to find the total cost. For example, if they ask us to find the total cost, and the total cost was not given in the question, it is also price multiplied by what? Multiplied by the quantity. But we are solving the total revenue. Okay? Now, the price, we are solving the total revenue. Now, if you check the question, we have sales. We want to determine the sales first because the sales was given for X and Y, right? X and Y. The sales was given, right? The sales was given. Now, for X, the sales for X is what? Is 9, right? So 9, which means Y will be equals to what? Is 0. The sales for Y is what? Is 10, which means for X will be equals to 0, and for Y will be equals to what? Will be equals to what? Will be equals to 10. So this is 2 by what? 2 by 2 matrix. So this is what you were asked to do in the second requirement. Okay, are you getting? So let's proceed. Let's proceed. Let's proceed. Now, the other question, the last requirement, which is the Roman figure 3, asks us to evaluate. It asks us to evaluate RQ minus CQ. We should minus this matrix. This is subtraction of matrix, right? We want to subtract this matrix from this matrix. Now, the other time we only solve for the total revenue, right? Now we need to solve for R multiplied by Q first, because the previous question, question I solved now, Roman figure 2, I only solved for the total what? The total revenue, the R, the revenue coefficient. I only solved for the revenue coefficient. Now, I need to multiply the answer multiplied by Q first. Okay? I need to solve for what? Solve for RQ. I need to solve for RQ first. Okay? And the R is what? Is 9, is 0. Right? 9 is 0, and 10. Then I need to multiply it by what? I need to multiply by the Q. The matrix for Q, which is 1 and Q. Right? So I need to do this. So I'm multiplying the row multiplied by the column by saying 9 multiplied by 1 plus 0 multiplied by Q. 0 multiplied by 1 plus 10 multiplied by Q. Okay, so let's simplify this. This is saying 9 times 1, which is 9, right? 9 times 1, which is what? Which is 9. 0 multiplied by Q is like you are saying 0 multiplied by 1 is still 0. Okay? So 9 for this row. 0 multiplied by 1 is still 0. 10 multiplied by Q is what? Is 10Q. So I've been able to solve for my RQ. Are you following? I've been able to solve for my RQ. Now, the next thing for us to do is now to minus. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Is for us to minus, because we've already solved for our RQ. So I want to minus. Now, my RQ now is what? My RQ now is 9 and 10Q. Okay, minus the first. This was the first requirement that we saw earlier on, CQ. If you can remember, it is what? It is 60 plus 6Q 35 plus 8Q. This is multiplication of matrix. And this is subtraction of matrix, not multiplication. So the algorithm or the process will change because we are not multiplying this time around. This is subtraction of matrix, right? So equals to, so 9 minus, because it is subtraction, 9 minus, open the bracket of 60 plus 6Q. 10Q minus 35 plus 8Q. Are you following? So we are going to multiply this negative sign to open the bracket by saying 9 minus times 60 is minus 60, minus times plus 6x is minus times plus 6q is minus 6q. So this will be 10 cube. Minus times 35 is minus 35. Minus times plus 8 cube is minus 8 cube. So 9 minus 60. 9 minus 60 is minus 51 minus 6 cube, because this one is having a variable. You cannot minus it. Okay? So 10 cube minus 8 cube is what? Is 2 cube. Are you following? Is 2 cube. Then minus 35. So this is our final answer. This is our final what? This is our final answer for the Roman 3. I believe that you all understand by now. You all understand how to solve questions on matrix, whether the subtraction, whether the addition, or whether the multiplication. Thank you very much. See you guys in the next video.